Imagine someone who's always saying yes, always helping others, never complaining, always wearing a smile even when things hurt. This person seems like the best friend you could have, right? But here's the hidden truth nobody talks about. Being good is silently bankrupting them and making them powerless in their own life. The constant pursuit of being liked is the invisible cage that keeps millions stuck in financial struggles and emotional exhaustion. Today, you're going to discover exactly why being too nice is costing you everything and how the world's most successful people broke free from this trap. The good person trap. The biggest misconception about being broke is that it's always about not making enough money. But the real culprit is something far more insidious. It's the person looking back at you in the mirror. When you're someone who puts everyone else's needs before your own, your financial life becomes a battlefield where you always lose. People who struggle with this pattern are often invisible sufferers, quietly drowning while maintaining a perfect facade. They're the ones who lend money they can't afford to lend, who pick up the check when they ordered the cheapest thing, who buy expensive gifts on empty wallets, and who say yes to every request because the thought of disappointing someone feels unbearable. The problem isn't generosity, it's the hidden belief system underneath. Nice guys and people pleasers operate from a covert contract, a secret deal they made with the universe that says, if I'm good enough and do everything right, I'll be loved, appreciated, and my life will be smooth. But life doesn't work like that, and this belief costs them dearly. Consider what happens in real life. A person who struggles with boundaries might find themselves lending $5,000 to a friend who never pays it back. They might stay in a relationship where their partner spends freely while they sacrifice. They might work overtime for a boss who undervalues them, all because saying no feels impossible. Their bank statements become a graveyard of choices made out of fear, not love. Financial therapists have documented that people who struggle with excessive people-pleasing often experience something called financial fawning. This is when your financial decisions are driven entirely by the desire to avoid conflict or gain approval. You're not spending from abundance, you're spending from desperation, trying to purchase the feeling of being okay. One certified life coach named Haley McGee spent thousands of dollars paying for drinks with friends, buying expensive dinners, and purchasing lavish gifts even when she was on a tight budget. She admitted to feeling a constant compulsion to pay for things, which left her unable to afford basic necessities for herself. Another person in business found herself in a cash flow crisis despite generating significant revenue. Why? Because years of people-pleasing and putting others first had left her emotionally, physically, and financially depleted. She was running a charity, not a business. How being nice became your invisible prison. This pattern didn't start overnight, and understanding its origin is the key to breaking free. Most people who struggle with people-pleasing watched something devastating in childhood. They saw a parent abuse power. They saw aggression hurt the people they loved. They saw their mother cry because of their father's hairstylist. And in that moment, a child made a promise. I will never be like that. I will be kind, I will be nice, I will make everyone happy. This decision, made from a place of pain and love, becomes the foundation for decades of self-sabotage. During school years, this pattern hardens even more. A shy kid, maybe a little smaller, a little less athletic, gets pushed to the back of the pack. They learn early that speaking up results in rejection. Assertiveness feels dangerous, so they accept their lot and build an identity around being the good person, the helpful one, the one who never causes problems. By adulthood, this has become their entire operating system. These individuals come from family systems that didn't allow them to be their full selves. Perhaps they grew up in repressive or emotionally controlled households where certain feelings weren't permitted. Or maybe their primary caregiver was absent, and they learned that the only way to maintain connection was to anticipate needs and solve problems before anyone asked. Some were raised in environments where their fathers were alcoholics or simply uninvolved, leaving them without a healthy male model of boundaries and self-respect. Without guidance on what healthy manhood or womanhood looks like, they improvise. They internalize messages that their internal power is dangerous and needs to be suppressed. They believe being peaceful and accommodating is the only acceptable way to exist. This becomes their identity, their entire sense of self-worth. What being good really costs you. The financial consequences are just the tip of the iceberg, though they're devastating enough. Someone who struggles with boundaries might spend hundreds of dollars per month on others, leaving nothing for themselves. They might have thousands in credit card debt while their friends enjoy vacations. They might miss the opportunity to buy a home because they've been funding other people's dreams. But money is only one dimension of the problem. The deeper cost is powerlessness. When you live by the rule that everyone else's needs come first, you're essentially handing over control of your life to other people. You're saying that your needs don't matter. You're confirming the old childhood message that you're unlovable unless you perform perfectly. What happens next is predictable and tragic. You start to resent the very people you're helping. You begin to feel used, even though they didn't force you to help them. You feel angry at your circumstances, but you can't face the real source of that anger, yourself. This combination creates what therapists call the martyr complex. You're constantly sacrificing, constantly helping, constantly putting others first, and you deeply believe that eventually this goodness will be rewarded. When it isn't, the resentment is crushing. The relationship damage compounds the problem. Because you're always wearing a mask, always being who you think others want you to be, nobody actually knows the real you. True intimacy requires vulnerability and honesty, but you're terrified of both. You can't let anyone see your real needs, your real desires, your real anger. So your relationships remain surface level, unsatisfying, and ultimately lonely. Partners don't respect you the way you hoped they would. Friends see you as convenient, not as a genuine equal. Colleagues take advantage of your willingness to work overtime for the same pay. In the workplace, this becomes especially dangerous. You underprice your services. You accept unfair compensation. You stay in roles where you're underpaid because you're afraid that asking for a raise might make your boss upset. You work in conditions that harm you because saying no feels impossible. This is why people pleasers often have poor profit margins in business and weak financial boundaries at work. Why nice guys can't get what they want. There's a psychological reality that most people miss. Nice guys syndrome isn't about being nice at all. It's about being inauthentic. When your entire personality is constructed around what others want from you, you're not being nice. You're being dishonest. You're a performer playing a character, and the character is designed to never challenge anyone. This creates a profound sense of powerlessness that affects every area of life. The fear that underlies all of this is ancient. It's the fear of shame, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being abandoned. Nice guys believe that if anyone sees their true self, with all their needs, desires, ambitions, and anger, they'll be rejected immediately, so they hide. They smile when they're hurting. They agree when they disagree. They say yes when they mean no. This constant suppression of authenticity is exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. What makes this even more destructive is that the people around you sense the inauthenticity, even if they can't articulate it. Your partner feels the incongruence between your words and your energy. Your friends notice that you're not being real. Your colleagues recognize that your agreement isn't genuine. Instead of the love and respect you hoped for, they lose trust in you because they sense you're hiding. The nice guy dynamic also reveals something counterintuitive. If there's a hidden agenda behind your kindness, it's not generosity, it's manipulation. You're not giving freely, you're giving to control the outcome. You're doing things not because they're right, but because you want something in return. And when that unspoken expectation isn't met, all hell breaks loose. You become passive-aggressive. You withdraw, you sulk, you might even explode. And the person you're angry at has no idea what they did wrong because you never told them what you actually needed. This is why people with this pattern struggle in romantic relationships. They attract partners who have also developed dysfunctional strategies for getting their needs met. At first, the nice guy seems safe and loving, but as the relationship develops, the authenticity deficit becomes obvious. Without real communication, without genuine sharing, without actual vulnerability, the relationship becomes a dance of unmet expectations and silent resentment. The partner loses attraction because there's no real person to be attracted to, just a performance. When the partner pulls away or loses interest, the nice guy feels blindsided and betrayed. But the truth is, his inauthenticity had already killed the relationship. He just didn't realize it. Being good without boundaries is the most expensive mistake you can make. It costs you money, power, authenticity, and ultimately, your life. The world doesn't reward people who sacrifice themselves on the altar of others' approval. The world respects and rewards people who know what they want, who aren't afraid to ask for it, and who can handle the discomfort when others don't like it. Stop waiting for permission to have needs. Stop believing that your worth is dependent on your usefulness. Stop performing for people who will never love the real you. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of that discomfort. The question is, are you finally ready to take it?